Morning, people. It's an early Saturday morning. I'm headed over to get some free wood. When you burn wood to try to save fuel costs, whether it's propane, oil, etc., does it pay to pay for firewood? I don't buy firewood. I scrounge it. I look for free ads in the paper, and I go and pick it up and I cut it and collect it. And me taking it away is payment to the landowner for getting rid of the wood, and then I burn it for free. Well, free minus the gasoline it takes to go pick it up and the saw gas to burn it, but I don't really pay too much attention to those expenses. I never go more than 10 or 15 miles from home to get wood, so. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I got a feeling that this is the same place I went last year, because the ad in the paper said, push some trees over, mostly ash, bring your own saw. Which is exactly the condition of the place I was in last year. Somebody in there with some heavy equipment that cleared an area and knocked over a lot of trees, and it was mostly ash. Though I did get one nice maple and one nice beech, and I got a lot of ash out of there too, but I left a lot behind. So I'm going over today with the thoughts of getting, I've got a lot of wood at home already, so I'm going over there with the thoughts today of getting one good load and see how things look after that. So I'm back home, and this is the haul. May not look like much, but it's a pretty good load. It is one whole maple tree, entire maple tree, and there's 2 4-foot rounds of ash in here. This is one of the ash. I don't know what this thing is. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good sized maple. Be happy to have that. And there's one more maple over there. I didn't film on the site because there were security cameras, and some warning thing kept going off. I'm definitely going to go back and get another load after lunch. This is one of the ash rounds. I'm going to set them aside. I'll split them up right away. The maple that's here is still pretty green, and I'll pile it through the winter and split it in the spring next year. Well, this is load number 2. I don't think that tree I got was a maple. I'm not sure what it is, but that's the bark right there. So I got 5 or 6 4-footers of the big ash. 4 or 5 4-footers or whatever this stuff is. I really don't know what it is. I'm wondering if it's ironwood. Honestly don't know. I got these two blocks here came with the load. The rest of that stuff and this maple here came in the first load. Anyway, all this wood that's here is for next year, including this pile. I think I got enough. Well, it's now January 2023, and I'm on my way back to that same woodlot that I was at a couple of months ago. I got 2 loads out of there one day, and then the next day afterwards it snowed about a foot, and we had more snow, so it wasn't worth going back. But in the last week and a half we've had nothing but thaw and rain, and if you look at the ground out here, you can tell there ain't a whole lot of snow left. I'm hoping to take advantage of this weird weather to get access to that lot, and especially access to the trees that I want to cut. Now, if there's no one around, I'll try and I'm going to take a video and show where I was cutting. That will show a little bit of, show some of me cutting what I intend to get today. And what I think I'm after is a big oak tree. It's split in half and fell in two different directions. One of them right into the guy's property, and the other one along his property line. I've got a toboggan in the back. There'll be some snow there. It's a pretty big tree, so I think I'm going to have to block it and then sled it off on the toboggan back to my trailer. And I can't just drive up there. I don't have four-wheel drive, so two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive SUV. I gotta be cautious where I go and how much I load, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm on my way. Looking forward to getting some more wood. And as I say, the best kind of firewood is free. That's what we're after. So this is the lot. This is where I was cutting. I cut here last year, and now I'm cutting again here this year. It's a tangled mess. There was a maple down in here, and I got it out. Way out in there, and it took a couple of trees, complete trees out of there. Difficult. So the tree I'm after today is that one that's laying down. It ain't easy to get to, but here goes. The perils of free wood. I hit a rock in there. I had to go back and sharpen the saw. Anyway, price you gotta pay. Go at her one more time. It's tough slugging. I'm not going to kill myself for this time, but I'd like to get at least 8 to 10 feet off that log I've already cut. Look at that. A genuine Gordie Howe toboggan. That's got to warm the heart of anybody from Michigan and all Canadians. Gotta love it. Well, it's 3 o'clock. One load. That's all I could get. Took a lot longer than I expected. It isn't white oak either. It's maple, which is good. I think this is a piece of ash, and of course that's birch log that was laying there. I just grabbed them. Anyway, now comes the dubious task of unloading it. As I load my stove here, just a couple of comments about free wood. Nothing is 100% free, but I do not pay for firewood. I gather my own, whether it's off my own little property here. I've cut a lot of ash and some birch out of my property, and quite a bit of buckthorn, because it's an invasive species. There's more in there, and I'm going to eradicate even more of it this coming spring. Is it worth going and scrounging wood, reading ads in the paper, scrounging wood, getting it off people's properties, driving over and picking it up, cutting it, bringing it home? I say yes. In many ways you can get wood. One of the most popular ways around here is to just you just hire a guy who cuts wood, and he brings you a truckload of wood, and it's got about 20 cords of wood on it apparently. A load of wood like that apparently costs somewhere between $1,200 and $1,400 delivered. And you still have to get out the chainsaw and cut it up. But you don't have to drive around and get it. And it's usually pretty good wood. It's often, it'll be a mix of ash and maple, maybe even some oak if you're lucky. I don't know, I've never bought it, so I don't really know. But at $1,200 or $1,400, apparently there's enough wood in one of those truckloads to last you 2 years. So I burn about 10 cords a year myself if I'm heating all the time. And those are what I call face cords, which is a 16-inch block by 8 feet long by 4 feet high. That to me is a face cord. 3 of those make up a full cord. I'm burning now about 10 what I call face cords a year. And if I'm burning almost steady. Now there is some burning of propane. I do have a propane furnace, and when it gets really, really cold, like down below minus 20 degrees Celsius, this wood stove will heat the area we're in, but it won't. It's not enough to get the heat up to the upstairs. So, but so far this winter, into January now, 2023, it hasn't been cold enough. I think the coldest night, was last night, was minus 16. And the stove was going all night. And it's cool upstairs. Admittedly, it's cool, but I like it that way anyway. You're under the blankets. It's good for sleeping. Might not be the greatest thing for raising small kids, but it's fine for an adult couple for sure. Anyway, going back to the truckloads of wood. If you get a truckload of wood, in my case, it's got about 20 cords. That would last me 2 years, and it costs between $1,200 and $1,400. And as I said before, you've then got to get your saw out, organized, cut that stuff, cut it all up and split it. But you get 2 years supply of wood, so if it's $1,200, that's $600 a year. If it's $1,400, that's $700 a year. So between $600 and $700 a year, I could heat this house almost exclusively with wood. And that would be a heck of a lot cheaper than running the propane furnace all the time. We went to Florida last year for 3 weeks, and when we came back, I had a $490 propane bill. I don't know exactly what that covered, but could have been 6 weeks. But that's, I've blown 3/4 of the $600 wood budget already in 1 month, so it would cost me a lot more than that. I estimate that if I run the furnace here, it's close to $3,000 a year to heat this place. So burning wood, getting wood for free, is well worth it for me. Now again, nothing's free. You got to pay for the gas, got to pay for your saw. But I estimate that I spend probably between $200 and $300 a year. Gas for the saw, gas for the vehicle back and forth, and gas for the wood splitter. I really only I buy a couple of 2 or 3 jerry cans of gas a year for the wood splitter, and very little for the chainsaw. It doesn't take much. So $600 or $700 a year if I bought the wood and cut it here. $300 a year going around and scrounging it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm coming out ahead, but I must admit it does take time. Prior in this video, you saw me, I spent almost the whole day. I left the house here at 9 or 9:30 in the morning. I didn't get home till 3 in the afternoon, and I got 1 load of wood. Now that's not very good. In terms of cost, well, it's fine because only making 1 trip, but in terms of my time, it's not good. You only get 1 load of wood in a whole day. That's too much time invested. Yeah, I won't go back. The wood's mostly picked over, and the tree that I really wanted to get one on my way over there it looked like a big oak, had split, and half of it had fallen down out into right into the open area there, but somebody had already beat me to it. So that's also one of the perils of scrounging for wood and getting it through ads in the paper, is that somebody might get there before you. Just to wrap this video up, thanks for watching, and I love the wood. I like everything about it. I like the work, actually. I'm no stranger to hard work. Grew up on a farm, and my brothers and I were in the bush helping our dad cut wood and haul wood out from the time I was like 10 years old. And I wasn't running a saw then. In fact, I never ran a chainsaw till I lived here, in my 30s. But I've certainly run it a lot since, and I like it. I like splitting the wood with an axe. I like splitting it with a splitter. I just like it, and I love the all-encompassing wood heat. it's just the nicest feeling. I love it. So anyway, that's enough said. Thanks for watching and take care.